What's going on, guys? Daniel DeBrocke here, and I'm at elitefts right now. And today I'm going to be talking about why you should be doing cardio as a powerlifter if you want to increase your strength. I know a lot of powerlifters scoff at this and they say anything over 5 reps is a waste of time, but this honestly is just not true. And it's really just a lazy attitude that people have. It's actually preventing some people from getting stronger. So we're going to cover it, and I'm going to create some practical recommendations that you can implement into your own training depending on whether you're in season or off season to see much better results in your actual training. So first off, why is cardio actually important for strength? Well, the first thing, there's a lot of different adaptations that occur when we start doing cardiovascular training and specifically improve your aerobic fitness. The first is going to be we improve your capillary density. So when we increase capillarization, we get better oxygen transport. We get better clearing of metabolites, right? So when we're training really hard, we get a buildup of all sorts of metabolites, including lactate, hydrogen ions, and different things like that, that can really impede our performance. We get better clearing as our aerobic fitness improves, right? Which means we get better oxygen transport, we get an increase in our work capacity, we get an increase in time to exhaustion. So if you're doing, let's say a max set and you're trying to hit like 15 reps, but you gas out, well, improving your aerobic fitness might allow you to get 16 or 17 reps or something a little bit higher, okay? Not only that, but intra session recovery is going to be enhanced. So instead of fatiguing halfway through your workout or maybe, in the last quarter, you're going to actually be able to do all of it at a very high output. So if we have higher outputs and better recovery, that means better performance and better subsequent training sessions, okay? Next, we look at, glycogen repletion. So if you improve your aerobic fitness, we get better utilization of glycogen and we get better glycogen repletion, which means we can actually replenish it faster, recover better, and just get a much better adaptive result. Now, is this going to make a drastic difference over the span of 1 week? No, probably not. But anyone who's listening to this video or watching this video is going to be training for multiple years. So if you're doing that and you're able to improve your aerobic base over that time, it can have a pretty drastic effect when we expand that timeline down to 5, 10, 15 plus years. Okay. Now let's look at some in-season and off-season considerations. So again, if you are approaching a competition, probably not going to be the best time to start introducing some sort of new cardiovascular type training. All right. However, if you're in the off-season or if you're far enough away from competition, it might actually be a pretty good idea to actually enhance your general competition style training. So there's a couple of different things to consider. The first is going to be adopting a graded exposure approach. If this is something that you're not used to, it's a bad idea to just dive right in and start doing 2, 3, 4 days, especially when we need to consider, the duration that you're going to be exposing yourself to this type of aerobic conditioning, and then also the intensity. Those are going to be the two primary considerations. If we are looking at it from a dose-response relationship, we want to make sure that we are gradually coming in. In the exact same way, if someone's new to the gym, and they say, hey, I want to squat 500, 600, 700 pounds. We're not just going to load it on the bar and have them squat it. We're going to build up from where they're at right now. Maybe that's 200, maybe that's 300, maybe it's 400. But wherever they are, we're going to take our time and gradually progress them as their body allows and as they adapt. Next, we're going to look at fatigue management. We want to be considering the type of aerobic conditioning that we're implementing, and then also, again, the dose. If we are doing too much, it might actually detract from your primary training, which is the exact opposite of what you want to do. We want to make sure we're enhancing your actual training. And so by utilizing a graded approach, we're going to give you more opportunity to adapt, improve your fitness, and actually become much more acclimated to the type of training that you're going to be doing. Next, we want to make sure that, it has some sort of sport specificity. Okay, now this, you can kind of argue for or against, but I personally like to prefer something that is going to be, less orthopedically taxing. So again, if you're a really big guy, let's say you're 300 pounds, going for a run all of a sudden, if you've never run before, probably is not going to be great. There's tons of eccentric loading. There's tons of stress on your knees, on your hips, on your ankles, and that can definitely beat you up, especially if you're going from zero, even just into going for a run once a week, right? So we want to make sure that the type of aerobic conditioning we're choosing to implement is actually appropriate for you, your lifestyle, your current level of fitness and preparedness. So we've got a variety of different things. We can do the skier, we can do a rower, we could do prowler pushes or sled pulls. We can do, for some people, running, or for some people, a bike, or maybe the Airdyne bike. So there's a variety of different ways you can implement it. You can also just do things like decreasing your your recovery time, right? So if you're doing 5 minutes rest in between bench sets, maybe you can do 1 minute. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right? Slowly start to work down your time. You can add in supersets or giant sets to really increase your rate of breathing and really push yourself from an aerobic standpoint. There's a variety of different things that we can do just with your base level training as it is right now, without even necessarily having to go into, doing dedicated cardio times. Another thing that's going to be very easy for people is just increasing your step count. Most people, I think the average American only steps around 3,500 steps a day. If you can eventually increase that to around 8,000 to 10,000 a day, that's going to have a huge impact on your recovery and your performance as well. I already mentioned orthopedic considerations. The last thing we're going to talk about is the integration. So again, when you start doing this stuff, it's best to start off much, much smaller than you think, and then over time, start improving it. So one example that you might do is, let's say you have a lower body day. Well, you could do a ski erg for the upper body, right? That's going to pump your upper body up. It's going to tax you. It's going to get you breathing really heavy and have you feeling great, but you're actually going to be pretty damn fresh for your squat training or deadlift training or whatever it is you're doing on that day, because you're not doing anything upper body specific. So you can also cycle things in like that. You can have it on your recovery day as an active recovery element. So again, if you train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday might be days where you implement some sort of aerobic fitness type of training, which again, could be skier, could be anything that's going to be specific for you and your individual context. As I mentioned earlier, running's probably not great for larger lifters. Maybe rowing probably isn't great because you might get a crazy low back pump. So really just kind of experimenting with different approaches and different modalities to find out what's going to work best for you. But if you do this and you dedicate your time and make sure that this is something you're going to be doing over the span of months and years to come, you're going to significantly improve your overall results. Now, lastly, I did want to touch on in-season versus off-season. Again, it's best to introduce these things during the off-season, and then we're going to ramp down we're going to ramp down the volume and the intensity of these, especially as you approach the actual competition. We don't want anything interfering with the specific training that you're doing for your meet as you come up. So hopefully that helps, guys. Give it a shot, and I'd love to hear your guys' feedback in the comments.
This is Dave Tate from Elite FTS. Last year, we partnered with Ken Kanakin to co-host the Swiss Symposium. It's built on hypertrophy and sport medicine for strength athletes and practitioners to come together in one place, which will be the Columbus Hilton at Easton. You are going to learn how to level up your training based upon the success and failures of others. You have to stay on top of your game if you want to be able to make the success and move forward at the pace that you want. Just to name a few of the presenters that will be presenting, we're going to have Matt Winning, Brian Carroll, Eric Serrano, Jim Wendler. That's just a few. These experts will be presenting on low back injury and prevention, exercise selection, as well as a business, steroid recovery, and restoration panel. If you want to network with one of the experts that we have presenting, we're going to have people there to be able to help you do that. To register for the Swiss Symposium, go to the elitefts.com website, look for the banner on the homepage, click that, we'll see you there.